Marriage is a mixture of commitment and finding the right person.
When we live back to our grandparents, we see and we tend to have a connection with them because they usually have been married for 50 years or they've had their 50-year anniversary or 45-year, and nowadays you don't see that.
I thought that, you know, if we got along and you had a pretty face and we had a few similar interests, that you could make it work.
I think for a lot of people, marriage can be a sensitive subject, and a lot of it depends on their upbringing and their background.
My parents got divorced when I was 15, and they were married for 19 years, and so like you wouldn't think it could happen after being married for so long.
A divorce has affected me. My parents divorced when I was 2.
My parents divorced when I was 5. No matter how many times your parents tell you that you didn't do something, it wasn't you, you still think maybe it was you and they're just not telling you.
I never really had like a solid example of marriage.
The type of lifestyle that I was surrounded by involved a gang life, drugs, alcohol were always common in the household, and a single mom who suffered from mental illnesses, and 2 half-brothers. We didn't have a father figure in the home.
I've always known my stepdad as being there because I was so little. I was like 3.5 or 4. But when I hit my teenage years, that's when I really started to kind of hit a rough patch, and I kind of would say some of those things like, well, you're not my dad, so what do you say?
There was a really long time where I couldn't even picture myself getting married.
Being divorced myself, dating, I've realized, and I learned from my previous marriage, if you don't put in the effort while you're dating to really figure out if that person's truly compatible, then it's going to make marriage that much harder.
The divorce of my parents was actually a motivation because I didn't want that. So for me, I viewed dating as an opportunity to almost go against the odds.
I've taken what happened when I was 15, it's more of like a lesson, and I've applied it to my life now. I have to, just give me a second, I'm like thinking of what to say. So I think now especially it's made me more cautious to make sure who I find. Before I kind of took it in a negative aspect, but now I've applied it more positively in that, all right, I see what they did wrong, now I know what not to do.
I feel really confident that I will have a happy marriage because I've seen both sides and I know what to avoid, I know what I want, and I know how to go for it.
I'm currently dating someone who doesn't have divorced parents. The moment his dad knew that he was in love with his mom is like, I feel like a moment like he wants to have things like that. And where for me, it's like I'm kind of just going from nothing.